History teacher?
We can go, no, she needs her glasses.
Okay. We good?
Nope, she's gotta get glasses.
Oh, okay, sorry. You know, I'm
They're
just
good.
giving you.
Okay, now we're
We
good.
call the meeting to order at 6:31, roll call please.
Clemitis,
Present?
Rapp,
Present.
Landers,
Here.
Cos,
Here.
Schrader,
Here.
Spinoza,
Here.
Williams.
Okay, please stand for the pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
With lots of red. The red thing going on?
It's, so we get donations, for the, blessings, yeah, the
Oh,
backpack blessings.
Okay.
And then when we go through the donations, some of them, food is expired, and so we take that out. So, yeah, that's,
Sometimes people give it to animals.
yes.
Like they're,
Mhm. So that's why
they're
we
farm
leave it in
animals
here
in
for
the
the,
pond.
yeah, we leave it in here for the teachers for whatever.
Still good for toast.
French toast.
Yes,
Okay.
toast,
Alright.
yeah, so we,
Science experiments with the bread.
there you go,
There you go.
see?
Yes.
We learn something new every day. All right, can we have a motion to approve our regular meeting agenda, please?
Make a motion to approve the regular meeting agenda as presented.
Second?
I'll second.
And roll call.
Espinoza,
Yes.
Cos,
Yes.
Schrader,
Yes.
Landers,
Yes.
Rapp,
Yes.
Clemitis.
Yes. Okay, do we have any visitors for this evening that like public comment? Okay.
Good evening.
Well, thank you. Good evening to you too. Okay, then could we have a motion to approve consent agenda, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. 5.1, disposition of minutes for February 2025. 5.2, payment of bills. 5.3, district treasurer's report. 5.4, interest and activity fund report, cafeteria report, and 5.5, the personnel report.
And a second? Okay, roll call.
Clemitis,
Yes.
Landers,
Yes.
Cos,
Yes.
Rapp,
Yes.
Spinoza,
Yes.
Schrader.
Yes.
Do you still want to keep exec there here, or do you want to move it back?
Yeah, we can move it back.
Okay.
That way.
Could we have a motion to move item 6 to, what, like 9.4?
I would have it as,
Oh, we needed to have that, 8.1, right?
Yep.
Yeah, before addition, item 8.1.
I'll make a motion to move the executive session to prior to 8.1.
And a second?
Second.
And roll call.
Schrader,
Yes.
Espinoza,
Yes.
Cos,
Yeah.
Landers,
Yes.
Rapp,
Yes.
Clemitis.
Yes. Okay, so moving on to item 7.1 FOIA.
None.
Okay, so we'll move to our Northbrook report.
Fantastic. So we have a lot of Northern representation, so we'll just get right to it.
Hello, I'm Beth LeBeau. I'm the assistant principal here at Northbrook, and I wanted to share, you guys can look at the screen back there, if you don't mind. Just some things that we have going on here at Northbrook, some cool things that the kids are doing, and just to share those things with you guys today. First is our Student of the Month program. You can see all of the students that have received the award. One of the things that we added this year was the signs for the yards, which is really cool. We actually saw one today in a yard, so kind of neat to see them out there. Seems like the kids are enjoying it. They get a certificate. They get a McDonald's coupon as well. It's really going over well. Athletics, you can see representation of all our sporting teams there. One new thing for this year is we started cross country in the fall. They had a pretty successful season. We had the Holy Cross Crosstown Classic, where you can see that one of the pictures where we donated $1,000 to the food pantry here in Mendota as part of that activity. Just some different things going on. We had a 6th grade field trip to a hockey game, Halloween dress up. The student council held a carnival open to the public. The kids had a great time at that. Staff giving some musical entertainment during the lunch period, singing, playing instruments. It was really cool, the kids really enjoyed it. You can see the pre-K kids coming over for trick-or-treating on there, the band and chorus. Our enrichment program, which each grade level has half hour of enrichment each day. You can see some of the things, the garden, the blender bike, Sarah and Brandon were a big part of that, which is our latest addition to that program, where the kids will be making some fresh smoothies with the blender bike there, so that'll be interesting to see what that brings in April. Fifth grade doing some ag projects through their enrichment program. We also had the Ruby Bridges Walk to School Day. Lots of really cool things that are going on, the egg drop for 8th grade. Some really awesome things going on within the enrichment program. In the classroom, we added in our cross-cap room, Mr. Dalton's room, we have a student who is doing jokes on Friday. Emily Clark has kind of spearheaded that for us. We had our first joke, I think, this last Friday. Went really well.
Over the loudspeaker.
Oh, yeah, during the
He's reading them
announcements.
over the loudspeaker.
Yeah.
And so then the engagement part is then the other students, when they see him, they're like, oh, great joke. Like, that's to get his communication going. So it's been a lot of giggles. It's really sweet.
They come around to us usually, and we
Mhm.
hear the jokes, and they practice kind of the pacing of it. They also, in that same class, started a coffee cart and hot chocolate cart on Friday, so staff can order a drink, the kids deliver it. Just kind of a neat program. Sixth grade, some science experiments that they're working on. Our ag program, working on some flower arrangements. We had a Veterans Day speaker come in and talk to the whole school, again led by Sarah Hinkle, sorry. Spartan Smart this year, one of the things that I thought was really cool was we did the dodgeball tournament this year, involved the kids. We had about 74 kids participate. It was a great night to see, grades 5 through 8 enjoying the same activity. It was definitely eventful, and then those students, just this past Friday, had the ability to play a team of teachers. So the two winning teams, first and second place, joined together, and then they competed, and we're happy to report that the teachers won. So that was pretty awesome. The kids enjoyed that. We have our Spartan Smart assemblies. We do one every trimester. We had, like I said, the one last Friday. You can see the picture in the center where the kids are going over kind of those core values of that program. There was confetti cannons at the last one. It was pretty cool, and then you can see some pictures of the kids. We do weekly drawings on Fridays with their Spartan Smart tickets. Another thing to recognize, obviously, is those that have received recognition for their efforts. These are our 8th graders, Cannon Delau, Ava Mahaffey, Lumen Setchell, and Mallory Beck, all receiving awards over the past few months. And then obviously, very proud of our staff. I'm lucky enough to be part of the staff. It's an amazing group of people to work with. Megan Gatza, the 40 Under 40 Award, Paula Daly, the IPA Principal of the Year, Angela Kent and Jeff Strauss, both the Regional Office of Education Excellence and Education Award, and then Sarah Hinkle, Illinois State Board of Education Award of Excellence, and the ISU Legacy Teacher Award. Super proud of all of them for their contributions to our school community. Great people to work with. Couldn't ask for a better team. And then Paula's gonna talk about school improvement.
Yeah, so this is, we kind of wanted to throw this in. We've been really racking our brains with trying to give kids as much homework help as we possibly can. We are just really finding that they're going home and they're doing extracurriculars, they're doing a lot of things, but the homework time isn't always there, or they don't feel confident in their skills to do their homework. So we do the after-school program 2 days a week, so during a school improvement meeting, I think in maybe January, February, it was talked about maybe mornings would be more beneficial. Our first bus arrives at about 7:21. is the first bus, and they don't stop after that. So we started a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 7:25 a.m. till 7:55 a.m. There's one teacher in the 5th grade hall, one teacher in the 6th grade hall, and one teacher in the 7th and 8th grade hall. Not mandatory. Kids can just come in, they can get help, or they have just the time in a quiet room. The first day, we announced it for a week before we started it. The first day, I think we had maybe 2 kids in. The second day, it was like 10 in each room. Now they're full. And we have also, we are in the hallways when they're sitting there. We're like, you have a missing assignment, get in there. Like, we are really finding the people that we have to. Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays are just hustling to find those kids and look at those grades and go, it's not gonna hurt you. 15 minutes, you'll have that math assignment done before you walk into class. I think this is actually gonna be more successful than the forced hour after school. They're finding this like a little bit more calm and inviting versus you have to stay because your grades are bad. So I will tell you, the 5th grade room is the biggest one for the 5th graders, where they run in and they didn't finish something and they want to finish it, and then they go outside and they know they get to go run and play. So it is really, I can't tell you how successful this has been in the little bit of time that we've had it. So.
Speaking of 5th grade, do you think maybe you can update a little bit on?
Oh, sure.
On just share what you think is appropriate.
Sure.
Just on the transition of going to
Yeah,
departments.
sure. So.
You're like,
she's
wait, what are you
I was like, what is
Was that
inappropriate?
code?
That was a rough transition for me. So next year for 5th grade, it's going to look a little different. It's going to be content specialists, just like 6th, 7th, and 8th are. So we talked about it with the teachers. They were so on fire and on board. We had originally thought we were gonna slow roll this and take a year and plan it out. They jumped at it. 5th graders are ready. It's the end of 5th grade is, they're too big for their desks, and they're just like rats on a sinking ship because they're in the same room all day with the same people, and they are ready to move around. Our 5th graders already move around a lot, more than most self-contained schools, classrooms do elementary. So they are used to that. We said to the teachers, how do you want this to look? We gave them a lot of choices. We're pretty sure we know who's gonna teach what, but there will be, due to the reading series, they need about 90 minutes a day of reading. It'll be split up into 2 groups so that they aren't in one room for 90 minutes. So they will go twice to reading. They'll go to math, social studies, science, PE Explore. It took us about 3 months to recreate our schedule because it didn't fit with 5th grade being self-contained, with teachers getting preps and team and the explores and making all of that work. So after about 3 months and a lot of people putting their eyes on it, we've come up with a schedule we feel really confident about. That probably won't work, but we'll figure that out on day 1 next year. But we feel really good and really excited about it. Next Wednesday afternoon, Tyler Pearson, I, and Beth will be meeting with the 5th grade staff for a little afternoon problem solving. They have a lot of questions. I have a lot of questions. What will this look like? How will this sound? We feel like we are going to give 5th graders the best and the most to get them ready, and to ease all of the transition issues that we have. And I think that we couldn't have asked for a better team to kind of pilot this.
And again, this is one of the outcomes of Tyler Pierce. He did some deep dives on some schools that were really high performing, similar demographics to us, but reading and math through the roof. And when he spent some time with one of the schools in the south suburbs that is just excelling, that was one thing that they kept coming back to. They actually departmentalized down to kindergarten.
Wow.
We're not talking about that. But our thought was, to departmentalize down some, and so we'll have continued conversations with next year of what does that look like then at Lincoln? Does it go to Blackstone? Just kind of have a lot of those internal conversations. Like Paula said, not something that we wanted to rush into, but the fifth grade teachers were like, let's go. And so, okay.
Yeah, it's honestly, I was excited about it when I heard about it, but I also was like, okay, let's toss it around when we talked to them, and kind of the first few questions that came about, you know, you're thinking globally, schedule is the biggest thing, and they were just totally, they are just, I don't even have words for how excited they are. So, they're already prepping, they're getting training in some curriculums. They're doing all of the groundwork to start next year, so. Yeah.
Next, you guys hit the button.
What?
The next.
Oh, here we go.
Okay, so, I'm Sarah Hinkle. I think I've interacted with everyone in the room at some point, but I am 8th grade social studies teacher.
And I'm Megan Gatz, I'm the counselor. Also, I know a lot of you. We run the career day together, which was yesterday, so we wanted to come just kind of talk about what that looks like and all the organization that kind of goes into it. So that's kind of what this slide is here. There were roughly 270 students. We take all of our 7th graders, all of our 8th graders, and we include the 7th and 8th grade Holy Cross students as well. This time we had 38 careers represented. We were supposed to have 40, but there were some last minute cancellations and some people not show up on time. So that's how that went down. 47 speakers total. We start in the fall by giving out a form for students to, we have careers listed on it, and students can go through and tally which ones that they would be interested in. They pick 10. We put a spot in there for them to write in sometimes if there's something that they want to learn more about that isn't on there, and then we tally that and see what has the most interest. Then after we kind of pare that down and figure out who we're going to reach out to, then we go back to them in January. Is that when we have them? I'm trying to remember when we did that.
So we did it.
Oh, I remember. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
so we try to manage all that and then still do our regular responsibilities throughout the day as well. And so we time that so that we could get their individualized selections. Here's the curated list that we've prioritized. Give us your top 10 in ranking order. We're gonna try to hit your top 6. It doesn't always happen, but we do our best. And so we got that right before Christmas.
That's right.
And we had that 2-week downtime where we just kind of back and forth a little bit, and we're like, what works, what doesn't, what doesn't, again, the master schedule rules everything, and so how can we make this into a master schedule?
Yeah, and we go in there into the classrooms and just tell them, like, pick 10. Obviously, you know, your top 6 are the ones you for sure want, but pick 4 more that you'd still be interested in, so that way if you can't get your top ones, you're not bummed, you know, with whatever else that you are getting. And then we keep that too, because sometimes students are like, I didn't get what I wanted, and we're like, oh, this is what you picked, and they're like, oh, they forgot, you know? Do you wanna talk about the other part, the 8 years of career day?
Sure.
The data share?
Sure.
Okay.
So we create the master schedule. My enrichment RTI did a lot of the physical groundwork of 270 individualized cards, and then the students rotated to their individual schedules yesterday. With the half day, it worked out really well, we feel. But we have feedback from presenters, from teachers, and from students that we haven't gotten to yet,
Yeah.
but it's there.
It was just yesterday, so it's okay.
Yeah. And so Megan and I have done this, I believe our first one may have been 2015. 2017.
Yep.
2017, okay, so we run it like every other year because it is an undertaking. And so we have 8 years of data that we've gathered through each one of these events. And so then the city of Mendota, with the grant that they do all this outreach and activities, said, what can you tell us about career interests in kids? Largely they went to the high school, and then the high school referred to us and said they also have some things that they're doing as well. And so we pulled the data that we've kept in our Google Drive. I said, here's 8 years, like you can analyze it for trends and patterns. We haven't gotten that deep into it. Annie Short with City of Mendota took that and said it's gonna help us, and she was able to kind of aggregate it into, well, this is the freshman, sophomore group, I can tell. This is my juniors and seniors, they're gonna be aging out, you know, and so she said it will help them in designing what they're trying to do with the summer career program to get kids into businesses. So.
And there's unfortunately a group of kids at the high school who didn't get this because of COVID. We had it all set, but it was March 2020, so we literally had to shut it down. The first year that we did it together, we did it in the fall, but we had several presenters say, like, because we gave them the evaluation form, and one of the things is, was this an okay time? Was there a better time? And several people said spring. One of them being the Illinois Department of Natural Resources, and they have a really cool educational trailer that they bring that the kids really love. So we wanted to continue to invite them, and spring worked better for them too. So that's why we switched it over to the springtime. So.
Do you have any questions?
Oh, I think there's another slide.
Some pictures of
Oh,
from the day.
Yeah, these are the
Okay.
pictures.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna interject. Yesterday was high energy and so much fun. The kids have a ball and they have their lanyards with their schedule. They know where to go. It's all different people in the building. They are engaged. They are excited. It was so much fun. The conservation guys pulled around back in the morning before school and started unloading right at the 5th grade playground, and it was like, whoa! The kids were so excited as they were taking all their equipment out. It was hilarious. It was just an amazing day.
And so that's the slide in the bottom left-hand corner. Upper left was graphic design. The kids got to manipulate and modify the McDonald's logo. What would that look like? The upper right is the writer. It's Allie Rayboy from City of Minnesota. She does the grant writing. She also was just recently elected to the county board, so she has that kind of also background pulled from. Bottom left was DNR, and they're always very generous and very hopeful. And then that middle one there, I can't think of the doctor. Oh, that's
Oh, yeah.
Dr. Yeah. So in this instance, that's Dr. Maritza Estrada O'Brien. A lot of our presenters are former Northbrook students. We didn't have time, we wanted to acknowledge them with a special badge, but a lot of our former students that have gone on to be really successful at Black Brothers or the Florist, or in this instance, the doctor.
We invited Matt Freeland, as a meteorologist, out in the Quad Cities. He really wanted to be here, but because of the weather yesterday, he had to cancel. However, he did record himself. He had a presentation, recorded himself, and I did talk to a student today that said that was their favorite session, even though he wasn't there in person. So that was pretty exciting.
And then the bottom right-hand corner is just recognizing 6th grade student volunteers and helpers. They were our runners, escorts, whatever we needed, and they would guide our guests down.
Welcome our guests, take them to their location, and helped us with anything we needed help with. So.
As a parent, I heard lots about it.
Good, that's what we want.
They were all hyped up, so that's awesome. Thank you for that.
Yeah, awesome.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is that the end of Northbrook? Or are you
Yep.
still going?
Okay, all right. Do you have anything?
No, okay.
Moving right along.
Now we're gonna need
Just,
oh, we did
just
have the one
committees.
before. Yeah, you wanna give an update on that?
Yes, yeah, so we had, our initial health insurance committee meeting, with, Wendy Sandoval from Gallagher. And, you know, it's just continuing the conversation. Health insurance rates are gonna go up again. Hopefully not like they did last year, but still significant. You know, we're still probably looking, 10, 12, 14%, somewhere in that, neighborhood, depending on exactly what the renewal looks like. Which, 10% for us is another $200,000. And so we're talking about significant, amount of money. And so, so then we should get our renewal, about the third week in April. So we have another meeting set for right after spring break. And then, by that time, we should have a renewal. Our broker is going to look into, other carriers to see if we can, leverage some other carriers against Blue Cross Blue Shield. Just continue to look at, possibly joining a cooperative to not only stabilize our rates long term, but also being in a cooperative is the only way that we can that we can have Blue Cross Blue Shield and have CDS in network. Of course, that's huge for Mendota because that's what we have, right? So just continuing those conversations, also looking at adding a second plan to our overall offerings. And so just lots of really good conversations. Kind of in combination with that, we're trying to add something every year to kind of ramp up, you know, wellness offerings for our staff. And so, at the end of April, we're gonna have a biometric screening on site. And so anybody who is, well, actually any staff member, that if you don't take the insurance, then there's a fee for it. But the high school has done this every year for years, and it's very successful. And so, every year you come, and if you have Blue Cross Blue Shield, there's no charge. And it's a fasting 37-point blood draw biometric screen. So it gives people consistent data on their health. A lot of people don't utilize their annual wellness check, and so really hoping to promote that. You know, we might do a few things to kind of incentivize that, but just to try to get people to think about their health. So we'll continue those conversations.
So you said about the biometric screening, is that going to be like one of, like, in one of my previous, it was one of the steps that each year you had to do the biometric? Is
You
that-
do not.
No, you're not, okay.
No.
Like, we had to do it as one of the steps in our agreement, so.
Do they share back like aggregate data of common findings, you know?
I don't think so.
Just would be nice to be able to know, if, like, you said we wanna do something different every year, like if physical exercise is something, like maybe we work with a local gym to help
Yeah,
break down
definitely.
rates, or if, you know, whatever that looks like,
Yep, I like all those conversations.
so whatever primary concerns are.
Yeah, if we can, if the biometric screen is something that we can put in place and do annually, and then, you know, next year we'll have conversations about putting something else in
Right.
place, and then next year, so just to kind of build on what that program looks like for.
That's great, I love it. Okay. So now we will need to call for, our executive session.
I'll make a motion to go into executive session for the purposes of student discipline.
Thank you.
6:58.
We have some data.
One second.
Okay, roll call.
Espinosa.
Yes.
Haas.
Yes.
Landers.
Yes.
Rapp.
Yes.
Canitas.
Yes. All right.
And what is that?
Brad, she's right behind you. if you
Debbie's
need
got her
help.
glasses on, she's ready.
I'm ready.
Rolling.
All right, resuming, we have, roll call, or sorry, motion for the milk rate increase, unless anyone has any questions, it was in the report. No, okay. A motion for milk rate increase, please.
Make a motion to increase the mill rate from 40 cents to 45.
A second. Second. Roll call.
Canitas.
Yes.
Rapp.
Yes.
Landers.
Yes.
Haas.
Yes.
Schrader.
Yes.
Espinosa.
Yes. For the board meeting dates for FY '26, is that, it was in the proposal, it's the same, other than switching that, the one for the November meeting? Yep.
Correct.
Are there any questions or concerns about the schedule? Okay, could we have a motion for that, please?
Make the motion.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I move to approve the board meeting dates for FY '26 as presented.
In a second?
I'll second.
So roll call.
Espinosa.
Yes.
Haas.
Yes.
Landers. Schrader.
Yes.
Canitas.
Yes.
Rapp.
Yes.
Excitingly, could we have a motion for reemployment of first, second, and third year teachers?
I'll make a motion to approve the reemployment of first, second, and third year teachers as presented.
Second? Roll call.
Schrader.
Yes.
Haas.
Yes.
Espinosa.
Yes.
Canitas.
Yes.
Rapp.
Yes.
Landers.
Yes.
Even more excitingly, could we have item 8.4 granting the tenure status for our fourth year teachers?
I'll make a motion to approve the granting of tenure to fourth year teachers as presented.
Second? Second. And roll call.
Canitas.
Yes.
Landers.
Yes.
Rapp.
Yes.
Schrader.
Yes.
Espinosa.
Yes.
Haas.
Congratulations to those teachers. And we'll move on to item 8.5. Action item, please, for the bus suspension.
make a motion to approve the student bus suspension as presented.
And a second?
Second.
And roll call.
Landers,
Yes.
Rack,
Yes.
Haas, Schrader,
Yes.
Kamidas,
Yes.
Espinoza.
Yes.
Finally, action item 8.6, this is our agreement with Holy Cross for food services. Any questions? Okay, motion please.
I move to approve Holy Cross Food Service Agreement for the 2025-26 fiscal year as presented.
Roll call.
Schrader,
Yes.
Haas, Landers, Rack,
Yes.
Espinoza,
Yes.
Kamidas.
Okay, 9.1, future funding.
Yeah, as I put in my update, just kind of an awareness of, we've heard a lot of things in the news lately, right? With respect to what's going on at the federal level, with respect to what's going on at the state level. Really starting to hear some conversations now about some state level prorations. Just want to make sure that everybody is kind of, at least it's in the back of your mind about how that might impact us. Really right now, as it sits, the conversations that are happening with the federal government really probably don't have the potential to impact us here nearly as much. Really, when you look at our big federal sources, our title sources, our IDEA special education sources, those were revenue streams long before there even was a Department of Education, right? And so if by some odd set of circumstances there truly is no federal Department of Education, most people would think that those revenue sources are going to continue to flow in a similar fashion to they did before. So really, when you talk about federal funding, you're talking about some of the, I'm going to say lesser kind of short tail things, like E-rate. I don't know if you remember, but a couple of years ago, we actually connected our buildings. So all of our main networking functionality is here at Northbrook, and we actually ran fiber from Northbrook to Lincoln and from Northbrook to Blackstone. Probably a $200,000 or $300,000 project, and we were able to fund it all through E-rate. I think we ended up paying like $8,000 or something. When we set it up, right? And so we don't have benefit through E-rate that much that often. I think last summer we probably I don't know, probably between $30,000 and $40,000 worth of hardware we were able to get at a much discounted rate because of E-rate and the connectivity that goes with that. That very well could be a funding source that goes away over the next few years. There's a Medicaid reimbursement through the federal government that we get between $75,000-$80,000 a year. That has a good chance of going away. And so, yeah, at the end of the day, in a $16 million budget, $75,000 isn't going to break the bank, but none of those things help, right? Any loss in revenue is not a positive thing. The state funding is really where it gets a little more precarious. It's not just let me back up. So when you look at the main revenue sources from the state, there's what used to be called general state aid. I call it that because I'm old. But now it's called evidence-based funding, EBF. And so in the last 4, 5, 6 years, there's been a significant amount of money that put into that. We've actually moved into tier 2, which is the tier 1 is the lowest level where the tier 1 districts get the majority of the money. And so we've seen far less increases in that EVF funding. I think this year we got an extra $12,000 compared to last year. And that revenue stream is close to $4 million. So $12,000, it's not a lot. So even if they slow down on the amount of new money that's getting put into EVF, that really doesn't seem that it will impact us all that much. They are talking about prorating some of the categorical grants, like special education, transportation. That could impact us a little bit. I mean, tens of thousands of dollars here or there. Where we will most likely be most significantly impacted in one of the old kind of tried and trues in the world of finance is when the economy and when funding and when everything's really going well, that's when you have lots of grant opportunities, right? So right now, this year, we're gonna have, you know, $170,000 in a school improvement grant. We're gonna have whatever the number is, $45,000 in a Better Connections community grant. We're gonna have $100,000 in a teacher vacancy grant, right? And so as we have the possibility of the state budget getting worse, that kind of $400,000 that we're enjoying this fiscal year, those are the places that we're probably most likely gonna feel kind of this turn. You know, the state budget hasn't been finalized, none of that's been set, none of that's written in stone, we don't know what we're gonna get, not gonna get, but I just kinda wanna put those things on everybody's radar. The good news is that with kind of the overall funding model that we have in place, we should be able to weather all that as long as we're, you know, paying attention. We have been, so.
And the state already, I mean, they're talking about prorating the proration. Like, we're already prorated.
Yep, we're already
And then they're just
prorated.
gonna prorate some more. So we owe you $1, we're paying you 70 cents on it right now, we're gonna drop that to 59 cents, so. But there's a multi-billion-dollar deficit in the state of Illinois, so it's not gonna grow on trees.
Yeah, as they look at next year's fiscal budget, none of
Yeah.
it looks good,
Yeah.
for sure.
All right, well, let's talk about something more exciting, like student achievement.
Yeah, no,
Then
no, for sure. I gave everybody this little printout. I kind of alluded to it at the last meeting. But these are our Fast Bridge 2nd through 8th grade benchmarking scores. And the top line is reading. And just as a refresher, when it comes to Fast Bridge, 60% is kind of the number that we've been shooting for. And that's the national average, right? If you look at the demographics that we have, if we can, obviously that's not where we want to stop, but it would be a really good target and something that we've been trying to get to. And if you look at reading, before COVID, we were almost there, right? Our winter benchmark in 19, we had 59% of our kids who were either at low risk or college pathway. And so then COVID came in and we went down to 48 in the winter 21. And so we've continued to come back up since then. Now we're at 52. We're starting to put some new reading curriculum in place and put new reading supports in place. And so we're very optimistic that will continue to trend upward as well. The bottom line there is math. And if you look at math, this most recent winter of 24 benchmark, grades 2 through 8, we were at 54%, which is the highest we've literally ever been in this. And so if you look at winter of 19, right before COVID, math was at 50, and then the next highest was last year at 48. And so again, year before last, we implemented a new math curriculum, implemented that with fidelity, lots of supports, lots of training. And so, you know, I think this is really good data that says, yeah, you're never there, right? But we are definitely gaining momentum and definitely heading in the right direction. So a lot to celebrate.
Is there any specific like grade that isn't like accounting for it, or is it pretty much positive gains all the way?
I didn't even ask her to say that.
I was gonna ask it.
So one of the things that you know, I was able to go, and again, thank you, you know, for allowing me to go to the national conference. Just so amazing. You come back with so many ideas, so reinvigorated. I got to talk to a lot of really crazy smart people about being able to really dive in and pull your data apart, to really disaggregate it, to look at every level, not only what individual students are doing, what are the individual classrooms are doing, grade levels, buildings, the district, how does it all work together? There are some districts in the area, more so elementary. Even Lad is doing some really good things with some data partners. And so Tyler Pierce and I spent some time this afternoon talking with somebody who we think is really going to be able to dive in and use our FastBridge data to allow us to take that data and have it be predictive and say, this is where these students are, and then when they do or don't end up that way, then to be able to really drill down and see, which teachers are doing great, and can we emulate what those teachers are doing, and then which teachers need more support, which grade levels need more communication, and so Accurate is the crew, and we're going to start that relationship here in the coming month, and obviously there's a cost with everything, but if you think about it, the last 3 years, we've probably spent pretty close to $500,000 in curriculum and sports, and so it seems. What's that?
What is the cost?
Yeah, so the annual cost, the cost to finish this year is $2,000. The annual cost for a district our size is probably going to be between $15,000 and $18,000 a year. And again, if you're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars that you're spending, that seems like money well spent to be able to really drill down and to be able to see where we can tweak things around to make kids even more successful. So, really excited about that prospect.
Is that something that we can tag team with the high school?
It's a per student.
Yeah, it's a
Well, I didn't, you know what I mean, like if they, you know what I mean?
So it's a per student cost, and if we added the high school to our enrollment, it would bump us to a very higher cost level.
Okay. No, I just-
of per student enrollment.
I'm
No,
just
that's-
thinking of the
it's always a good
interact-
idea,
yeah.
for sure.
Usually it would be the other way around. you
Right.
think.
Yeah.
Not those grades. Or you have them where you can.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
Well, it is more numbers of work and classes to.
Our high school's a different beast.
Yeah.
The,
That we pull so much data from these tests that we have to take, but we also know that as they go, the kids take them less seriously because they don't matter to them. How can we get that company to work with us and find the real data? Is there a way to do that? Yeah, I mean, we're going in for each teacher and each child, and we're.
But Accra brings in more than just standardized testing, right? Don't they bring in like grades and state testing and?
Yep.
Yeah, so it will be multiple data.
Lots of
sets.
data points.
Yeah,
Lots
so
of
it
data.
should be more accurate, right.
The longer too that you have a system like FastBridge, what's interesting is like when we have a student move in and they've been using MAP or AIMSweb or whatever, we get all of those records and then they take one FastBridge test, it's hard to compare and look at their data, what they're looking at and what we're looking at. But when you have the kids who have been here since we've had FastBridge, it is just a beautiful graph to look at of where they're going and what they can do and but it's that consistency with your testing system that really when I pull my data, I have outliers and it's exactly what you're talking about where I can see like you were at 62% nationally, now you're at 3%. What are you doing? Come on, we will reopen that test and put that kid back in. And I'll be like, do you want to be an outlier your whole life? No. So, we have those conversations, but the data allows us, and we're also small enough to really sift each kid, and to be able to have those conversations. So,
The other part of
nobody
it-
wants to have that conversation in my office.
Yeah, the other part of it is that very often, if students don't do well on their FastBridge benchmarking, then they get pulled for additional supports. So we can make sure that they have those reading and math skills. And then the time that we pull them is opposite enrichment time. And so it's very much an incentive for them to do well, to try on those FastBridge scores to then be able to be pulled out into the enrichment.
And they're made aware that that's
a possibility before
We-
taking that?
Yeah, we
Say
are,
no.
we have very good conversations about Fast Bridge when it's coming and what it's for and the difference between enrichment tier 2, tier 3 classes and, you know, what you're capable of and where you have to be and,
So they understand.
yeah, you hope,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
that's, you hope that they, you know, that
It's
this is
put
where
out
they
there.
wanna be and, enrichment classes have really helped us in the sense of it's a huge motivator for a student because they're really engaging classes. And so it's a huge motivator for kids, so.
So the answer to your question is we hope to be better at being able to find that data very soon.
So I saw a really cool data set at something I was attending recently where in a school they had a wall like this and the old fashioned little library card things, you know, you would slide into. Like you would have, they had the whole wall of those, one for every child. And the kid's picture was on the front of it. And it was such a cool way to humanize data. And as they progressed from this like at risk, you could see like where the, you know, they had maybe put in some additional supports. As a staff, they celebrated as they moved them like up. And if somebody moved back, then it was like, well, what are we doing? What additional things could we do? And I just think being able to look at data less as percentiles and more as kids, and you mentioned we're small, like being able to have those moments with your teams to celebrate when you're able to move people forward and when those things are really having positive impact. That was, to me, that was very powerful to walk in and see. 'Cause,
Yeah, for sure.
sometimes we lose the person behind the percentage a little bit.
I think data's it's an interesting thing. I think, I can speak for Northbrook and say that it wasn't so many years ago that we would take Fast Bridge and they would wait for me to come in and tell them what kids were moving where. Now there are 3 conversations prior to any kid moving anywhere. I'm having one with the interventionist over the data. I'm having one with the team. I'm calling parents. I'm talking to the kids. There's a lot of conversations before anybody's moving. And now the teachers they're looking at those charts because they want to see where they're at. So it's become, you have to engage everybody positively with data because it isn't for everybody. So it's really important to have like a group effort on it. So.
Alright, student fees, you sent us some of that, but
Yeah, so that's, that's just what the conversation is. It's a revenue stream for us. But for some reason, and it hasn't been like this in previous years, but for some reason, a significant portion, I would say at least a third of our parents who are, I'm gonna say eligible to pay fees, just aren't paying fees. We have, last year I think our revenue was in the neighborhood of $70,000, and we already know that we're more than $20,000 short on what fees should be paid. Right? So I know that the high school hasn't had registration fees or activity fees for years.
We talked about this a little bit last year. How do
Yeah.
they have that, and do you remember?
revenue.
They voted not, and we voted to,
I mean, look at what the facility expenses we face
and
in
that
the
was right
last
when we were
5
putting in
years.
all the.
Yep.
We didn't have error and, it's a lot more expenditures than that, and it's 3 buildings versus 1 building. There's just some fixed expenses, I think, kind of about 3 parking lots versus 1 parking lot. Maybe a little bit tighter. Can you tell us like what measures have been taken when someone does have a fee and they haven't paid it?
So, the monthly bills go out. I think, I brought this honestly to Brandt's attention. The most impacted people are 8th graders because they can't walk on the stage if fees aren't paid. And so, it's super frustrating for everybody. It's frustrating for my office. It's frustrating for parents, and it's a pressure on a kid. And so I will tell you that it is the technology fee, it is extracurricular fees, and in general, maybe a registration fee. But what happens is parents don't care and they just keep rolling it over. And so that first day of 8th grade year, we are on them and we are like, look you have all these fees, and it's added up since kindergarten. And so we're not talking about $35, we are talking about $800, $1,100. We have some parents who just roll from one kid from kindergarten to eighth to the next kid, kindergarten to eighth, to the next kid, to the next kid, and kid number 4 has a $2,800 bill. And so that's the kid that's not gonna walk across the stage. And so there's a lot of, for me, personally, just tremendous sadness about this. And I understand it all. I pay my bills. So I understand this. It's really frustrating and hard. This year, for whatever reason, our 8th graders have a huge, it's huge. And it isn't that we haven't contacted them, the bills haven't been sent. All of that is taking place, throughout the year. So, I don't have an answer, and having kids is not free, and I understand all of that. I just, it doesn't affect anybody except for Northbrook and the 8th graders, honestly. Everybody else, they just keep moving up and on, with that fee, or that debt until the next year, and it just continues. So, I take it personally, cause it just kills me, and we have just learned over the years, day 1 of 8th grade year, we get those bills out, we make those phone calls. If it's over so much, we are making sure to make those personal phone calls. You know, I don't have an answer.
We did have, a number of years ago, conversations with like a collection agency
I've gone that route in
that we
previous
did,
districts.
that we
I
did
don't
talk
I don't have
with.
any problem
And
with
I
that.
don't think that it was necessarily that 100% had to be, it's, are there payment plans? Is there a settlement? Is
So
there
we
something
have
we
offered-
can do to get something from people?
So we calculate, when we get to 8th grade year for the bigger, debts. And we calculate weekly, you know, $2 a week, $6 a week. You know, we have a parent this year who had a kid last year and their bill was over $1,000 last year. They said, roll it. We said, this is what we want you to do. You know,
I don't love that it's all falling on you, and I don't know that the answer is don't charge fees. I'm wondering if like our internal process needs a stronger examination, because I think there could be those same phone calls and those same
Oh, those happen in
25
all
cents a
buildings.
week versus
yeah.
$6 a week. Like, I mean, rolling and then the 4th kid. I wanna do everything we can to keep it away from the kids 100%. I agree with you, and so if that means we go a collections route, so it's gonna be the parent that has the repercussion and not the student, then I'm 100% in favor of that. I know that the not looking across the stage thing it's just an internal thing that we're doing. We can't truthfully withhold anything from them. It's not a
Right.
diploma or a transcript or I mean, you can't do that anymore. So it's just like lunch fees. Kids can rack up a lunch bill of $2,000 and you still have to let them charge what they wanna charge.
And these are truly
But-
technology, extracurricular, and registration are the 3. And if you just let it rack up all those years, you know, and then you keep pouring it down from kid to kid to kid,
But what I don't understand are the extracurricular fees. I mean, that isn't a have to pay.
So I'm gonna tell you, we don't really have that anymore because we're really good about getting those before. At this point, the extracurricular fees that are sitting on there are from before we were so strict about it. And I have a kid now, I think with extracurricular fees that are from siblings. This kid has never done extracurriculars. So, but it's sitting there as an extracurricular, cause we have to sort, you know, our money.
Well, I guess I didn't realize you could just pass the fees
Yeah.
to
To another kid.
That's- I feel like that should not be a thing.
Yeah, it's a horrible, flim flam shim sham
Yeah.
to get a kid to walk across the,
Well, I don't think we should do that. I mean, that's an internal process. I guess I didn't realize we were withholding that. I'm not in support of that at all. It's not the child's fault that their parents are not paying their bills, and we offer payment plans, we offer
Yeah, but there
sliding
has to be
scale,
some leverage.
we offer,
That doesn't make a difference.
right, but that's why I say I think the leverage has to go after the parents. That's why when we worked at the agency before, and you're starting to get certified letters showing up at your house, and you're starting to get settlement offers, it's just like you don't pay your credit card. It's going after the adult as opposed to going after the child, right?
How embarrassing is that for them?
Well,
to not-
it's almost nerve wracking. I don't even know if they know that's embarrassing
Yeah.
as much as like, it's something I wanna
like it.
participate in, I deserve, I've earned.
Right, but I'm
Um,
even meaning like if that follows through afterwards, like I just feel bad. That would be
Well,
embarrassing.
and my other.
I know you do.
Yeah, my other question is, how many students that had fees or still have fees on the book? Because I understand like people that have transferred and, you know, owe money for whatever. How many is it that have left the district also? Do we have a lot that have left the district? I'm just, you know what I mean,
I
because,
couldn't possibly
Okay.
even
I'm just asking.
ballpark that.
Why does it go through the school, like collecting the fees, could that be less on the individual school and more at the district level?
County level, you mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it seems weird that like a principal would be the one worrying about like sending out the bills for registration fees and stuff.
Yeah, each school
District our
office-
size, that's pretty typical.
Yeah, each school office
Tracks all of
handles
that.
theirs and they're,
I also have never heard of like the passing to a sibling and then like a student being withheld from participating in something when the fee was a different
I didn't know I
person,
could
like
do
that
that, I got
seems.
2 more kids coming up.
You could be racked up to $5,000.
Could've been fine. Like I know it stay on the parents, like as a family you owe X, Y, or Z, but I would hate that, I'm 100% in favor of whatever you can do to take it away from the kids and not withhold, you know, not withhold anything from the student experience, except for, like you said, the extracurriculars. If you're gonna participate in
we are
contests
very,
and stuff,
I
then
have really just, kind of put my foot down about that the last couple of years. We're like, you've gotta pay before we
Cause we
start.
can't keep adding more of them.
Mhm.
And
Well, and yes, the
Right.
fees might be might be their sibling, but it's still on that account. So extracurriculars, like, even if you're, like, say, Teresa's my sibling and she didn't have it paid, then I'm sorry, you don't get to play. You know what I mean?
See, I don't think
I
that's
don't like
fair.
that.
It's the adult's problem, it's not that student's problem. I think we have to make adult problems and kid problems, and
Maybe
I
the
went through
parent-
this
maybe the
round and
parent
round
will.
before, and that's why I would be in full support of whatever you can do to, I think saying we're not gonna collect anything in the same meeting where we just said we're facing potential cuts left and right is not a smart decision. But I do think that putting the responsibility on the parent and taking it away from the child is, I'm super in favor of that.
I also feel that the principals, it should be more of the accounting level, just because, say you have bad feelings or bad juju with the admin, you're accounting and you're completely separate, you're a different voice I haven't heard before that I might respond to.
Yep, tell you what I do, I'll sit down and we'll review some procedures and I'll bring back some recommendations.
Well, and how many, also, here's the other question is, how many are also student fees, you know, that it might be a sibling, but they did 3 sports, you know, when do we also go back to what we talked about last year of having a flat fee, no matter how many activities that they participate in, which is becoming, you know, is that part of it too?
It doesn't sound like now the extracurriculars are.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
like that
just-
speed dating.
That's.
Well, that's the nice part about working with an agency, whether it's a collection agency or similar to it, is a lot of times they'll say, look, we know this is 6 years old of cumulative whatever, the district's not gonna collect any by itself, but maybe we can work out
Yep.
something with them where we collect 30% of it, and at least, then you can wipe books and we can like
Yeah.
catch back up again and not be trying to collect on 12 years ago's debt.
Yeah, and back to your point, you know, you're exactly right. When, you know, again, in my experiences, when you get to that point and there is, you know, a heavy or a collection agency or what, that's always the student loans, that part of it is. Again, not to spoil
Yeah.
relationships or, but for sure.
I think the building level has enough with new curriculums and, you know, staff and stuff like that, that they shouldn't have to be worrying about tracking down registration and fees. Like, I think that's not you know, if it's where they ruined a device and it's $250, yeah, maybe the administration can say, hey, you ruined this device, you don't get another one until, but then I think it's all back down to the district level, whether that puts more on the district, but I don't think,
I
I
feel
think
like-
Paula's got enough, you know, Stacy's got enough.
I don't think that I don't think it's like a work overload, I think it's an emotional overload more
But
than.
it
you know what I mean?
equals,
I
it
just-
equals.
It's,
feel
I,
like the
I,
initial,
you know.
speaking out of turn, the initial collection of registration fees is probably fine to do that, but then this balance at the end of each year.
that's
not-
what, that's what
Right,
has to be
figure out
so
the
it doesn't
payment
get to
plans
eighth
or whatever,
grade.
like that.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
each year, the balance unpaid by the end of the school year should go to our other officer collector and not fall on our building
And not
administrators.
accumulate.
Like, does that sound?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I also don't love it, like you said, it's an emotional toll, and I think that makes it harder the more that you know about a kid,
oh,
you know, their
it's,
situation, and it just
Hard.
adds to that, it makes it harder and harder to be.
it is, we wring our hands in our office every day from now until the last day.
So could we
Just
like give her
praying.
the directive right now that like that's not on the table for this year? Like nobody's not walking because of a fee. Like discipline, yes, but not,
Yep.
and grades, yes, but not parent fees, like I think.
Because
Does anyone disagree with
we're,
that?
I don't disagree with that, because if we're going to look into other alternatives to collect something, that will just be taken care of on its own, separate from.
Is there a way, like in Teacher East, to have it set like an automatic payment, like monthly payment? Do they have an option?
Have an automatic for fees and for like,
I think they pay through teachers.
You can
Oh,
pay
yeah, but
to
to have like an
teachers.
option, like to be
Like an
like a
auto
monthly
draft or
payment,
whatever.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like an automatic withdrawal
Yeah,
from
I
them?
can-
Oh, I don't know about
And I
that.
hate that Teacher East has the.
That seems
the
high tech for
fee.
teachers.
Yeah.
$1.25.
I-
If you're only paying a $5 a week thing, you don't wanna pay a
I
dollar.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I purposely
Oh, right.
like hate that extra fee, even if it is only a small amount.
Right.
And I will send a check, and I hate checks,
Mhm.
but I hate that fee more.
Yeah.
So,
There are third party like pay services too, like I wonder if looking into something like
Yeah,
that
there's-
where
there's
it's a
a-
lesser.
There's one through the state of Illinois that's a lot.
yeah, but I don't think, I agree with Teresa, we shouldn't hold anybody from graduation because.
So are we clear on that?
Yep.
We're good?
Yep.
does that
Yeah,
need
no.
to be like officially voted on?
You just told me what I need to
Okay.
do.
Yeah, it's not a policy, it's just a procedure.
Yeah, just set something up and let us know what.
Yep.
Yay.
Follow up, we'll follow up in all of that.
Thank you very much.
Good.
Yeah, you're welcome, thank you.
Can someone tell us also what the breakdown is up per grade of what is owed? Is that something
Yeah.
that's accurate?
Yeah, we'll see.
Probably not accurate if you're just pushing it all to
Right,
eighth
right.
grade anyhow, it's
No,
all.
I know,
it's eighth
but-
grade.
Like, what do they have now as
$16,000.
kindergartens? Like, what's the fees right now as a kindergarten? You know what I mean?
And families might qualify for fee waivers one year and then not the next
Oh, yeah.
year, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's all over the map.
Yeah,
I'm just,
and then, if we're good there,
Mhm.
and then the only other thing that I forgot to mention earlier, if you're available, put on your calendar for May 30th, that's our last day of,
Will you email us?
I will. It's our last day, we're gonna have it go. Oh, when's promotion?
May 22nd, can you
I
open
don't
your
have
phone
the
and make
calendar.
sure? May 22nd,
Oh.
6 o'clock at the high school.
There we go.
I would not be there.
I know, you've got it.
2 in 1 week.
If you could email me and let me know if you're coming, just so that we can make sure that we have the appropriate setup.
Perfect.
I know,
Oh,
I
On
know.
the 30th, what was that, it was a lunch.
So,
The last
so,
day.
yeah, so we're at the golf course again, so lunch will be in individual buildings, but then we'll meet about 10 o'clock out at the golf course, and we'll have, a program where we, celebrate retirees and, talk about a few different things, then we'll have a luncheon out there, and then anybody who wants to stay and, play golf, the district will pick up the cost of your golf. And it's fun golf. We have a couple of ladies who put together fun little games on how to, you throw a football off the first tee and do something with a tennis ball.
Like goofy
Second.
golf.
Yeah, it's just fun. It's just fun. So if
I-
you're available, please come and hang out and spend some time.
I did put a bug in Mr. Messini's ear about, and I don't know, Paul, I can't remember if we talked about this, about the idea of having something, we talked about it at the last promotion ceremony, but like having some sort of symbolic, when they come up on that stage, they're Norfolk students, and when they leave, they're high school students, and it's pretty cool that it's in the high school building, and like, so, talk to him about maybe the high school, and he said they would love the idea of having something that they give them when they walk off that stage to kind of like welcome them into the Trojan
Oh, that's
community,
sweet. I love
kind of
that.
have more of like a community
I like that.
bridge.
Yeah.
It's almost like a bridging, right? Like from one to another. It's just kind of a cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. When we were sitting there last year, I'm like, it's really cool that they walk up here as one and they walk off as something different. So.
Maybe Mr. Messini should shake their hand on the.
Yeah, I think that would be really cool.
On the other side.
On the other side, you can shake him if she pushes up and he catches
They're
him.
yours
You can have them.
But it's unique.
Yeah,
I mean,
like
we
that.
are very unique in this state that we have the same kids. I mean, in a lot of districts where high school's different, it's because they're coming from multiple feeder districts. And really, we're one community with the same kids progressing through it. I think anything to kind of visualize that is a neat opportunity. Cool. Anything else? We have a motion to adjourn 7:43.
Make a motion to adjourn at 7:43 PM.
Second. All in favor? Any opposed? Alrighty.
Sorry, were you reading?
We are good.
Too?
Thank you.